Hello friends, this is the last video of our If I Was Starting a New Author Career in 2025. That is such a handful to say, and I have been struggling with every single video. But if I was starting a new author career in 2025, what would I do? I made a video about it that has 5 simple steps, but those simple steps actually turned out to need a little bit more explanation. And so I thought I'd do a deep dive to make sure that people have the full context for how these things actually work and how, more importantly, to implement them in your own life. We are on video number 5. This is our simple marketing plan. And I'm going to say some controversial things in this video. And so I hope you will bear with me, and I hope you will stick with me to the end. But I'm gonna say some controversial things. So we've got our whiteboard here. Let's go ahead and get into this. This is our simple marketing plan. Books sell books. I know I've talked about it on the channel before, and a lot of other people have talked about it all over the internet. This is the absolute number one marketing strategy that you can employ, hands down, period, forever. This is it. If you take nothing else away from this video, understand this. Books sell books. And so the more books you have, the more chances somebody has to buy. And if someone likes your books, the more of your books they will buy because there are more of them to buy, thereby increasing your total revenue, thereby increasing customer loyalty and customer satisfaction because you're solving their problem not once, but twice or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times or 30 times. The point is that the more books you write, the better off you're going to be. Now, there is a massive, massive caveat that has to be inserted here. And this is what people miss all the time. Even people who talk about books sell books, all right? They have to be good. They have to be good books. So we're going to start getting controversial. If you write books and they are not good books, then no amount of marketing is going to solve your problem. So in our last video, we talked about the feedback loop, okay? And if you have a lot of books out and you are not able to sell them, you need to go and you need to watch that video, and then you need to watch that video again, and then you need to watch the video again. And you need to implement all of those things, okay? Excuse me for being incredibly blunt here, but not all writers write good books. Good books come from studying and understanding craft and then perfecting it through iteration. If you have only written one book, chances are you have not yet written a good book. Now, there are unicorns out there. Some people write a fantastic first book. You know, we often hear about people who spend, 10, 15, 20 years polishing a single book. The reality is they have rewritten that book so many times that it's the equivalent of having written 10 books. That's not their first book. It's their 10th, 20th, 30th iteration of the same book. If I wrote 30 books, you would expect me to be better. And so even somebody who writes a single book and it's fantastic, more often than not, that's not actually their first book. So if you are writing your first book and you are thinking to yourself, okay, what I need is marketing in order to sell this thing. Nope, stop. You're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your time. And I know that because I did. And so many other authors I know have done this exact same thing. We've fallen into the same trap of you write something, you're really proud of it, you're excited for it, and you put it out into the world, and you think that the solution is advertisements. You think that the solution is posting about it on Facebook. No, the solution is to write another book and get better. And then what you do after that is you write another book and you get better. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox here. Books really do sell books, but they have to be good. Now, good is a variable. Because a good book is a book that satisfies the person who buys it. If I like reading trashy romance novels and I buy a trashy romance novel, I'm going to give it 5 stars because I like trashy romance novels. That's what I'm in it for. That's why I'm buying. Charles Dickens might objectively be better writing than the trashy romance novel I just read. But if I had bought a trashy romance novel, or at least what I thought was a trashy romance novel, and it turned out to be great expectations, I would not be leaving a 5-star review, no matter how good the writing is. And this is the thing. What we're doing when we sell books is we are meeting a customer's need. And as long as we can meet that need, as long as we can provide what they're looking for, we're going to get a good review, and they're going to be interested in reading more of our books. This is one of the reasons, again, why the feedback loop is just so important in getting the market research to understand what people actually want, what more specifically, what your customers actually want. Okay, so books sell books. The best thing we can do, the most effective thing we can do is write another book. But, Seth, you say, I'm already doing that. I want to be a writer. I want to write lots of books. Or I want to write a few really good books. Doesn't matter. I'm going to write some books. And I'm going to keep doing that. But I've reached the point in my career where I have a couple of books. There are a few books out there. And I want to start getting more readers because I feel like I could get more readers and more readers would make my life easier. Sure, I get it. What do we do if we're in that position? The first thing we do is we understand that the traditional methods of marketing don't work very well anymore. And the reason is because of the sheer volume of marketing that is thrown at every person every single day. No matter where you go in society, you will find yourself plagued by marketing, plagued by advertisements, plagued by people telling you to buy the thing and, to complete the action, to sign up for the newsletter and do this thing and do that thing and blah, 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 blah. It's exhausting. And so our readers have marketing fatigue, which means that if all we're doing is sort of the same tried and true methods of, post about it more on social media, get a banner ad, talk to somebody and do a book swap. All of those things are good in context, but are less and less effective every single day. Because again, people are just tired of this. People are just getting fatigued. So what do we do about that? How do we introduce a kind of advertising that will get people's attention? Instead of thinking about our marketing as a way to get people to just buy our product, instead we need to think about all of our marketing as a way to solve somebody's problem. My readers have a problem, and it's a really serious problem. They lack good fiction. Or maybe their problem is that life is tiring, and they want a moment of rest, a moment of adventure and excitement, something that can take them away from where they are right now and leave them feeling better when they're finished. And so that's the problem that I set out to solve. And so all of my marketing shouldn't be, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. It should be, is this you? Are you a person who longs for adventure? You can find it, and I can show you where. Instead of just saying, here's the newest book that I released, and here's another book that I released, and here's a third book that I released. You should buy these books. Hey, look, now it's in audio. Instead, it should be, do you ever spend a long time in the car? Would you rather ride on an epic adventure to go and slay the dragon and save the princess? If so, I've got this great audiobook that can transport you away. Now understand that I'm essentially saying the same thing. Hey person, buy my book. Conveniently in audio, just for you. But the way that I'm saying it really matters. I want to frame everything that I'm doing around solving someone's problem rather than just benefiting myself. Because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is a win-win situation, right? They pay me money, which I like, and they get a great story, which they like. But if I just frame it as like, hey, look, here's my new book. I'm running a sale. Hey, look, here's my new book. I'm not running a sale, but you should buy it anyways. That's the same as the millions and millions and millions of other advertisements that people are getting hit with in the face every single day. And they're just going to ignore them. Nobody wants to live in a world like we currently live in, where we're constantly being bombarded by advertisements. Like, nobody wants to be in this place. And so by providing something different, by providing something that cuts through that noise a bit, and more importantly, focuses on the actual need that our product is trying to fill, we're gonna have a lot more success. The second thing that we need to do is that we need to understand that people want to be noticed and not notified. I have to thank my friend Christopher Hopper for this one, because when he said that, I was at an event and he was on stage and he was speaking, and when he said that, it was like a bomb went off in my brain. I'm going to repeat that again because it's so important. People want to be noticed. They don't want to be notified. We all know how that feels, right? We all know the difference between just, here's a notification for you, here's a thing that I've done via email, versus a personal email that actually recognizes who we are as an individual, as a person. We know the difference. And your customers can tell the difference as well. Your readers can tell. And I'll admit, I don't always do this super well. This is one of those areas where I feel like I really need to grow. But I think it's important enough that the people who can figure this out, the people who can do this well, who can notice their readers, rather than just notifying them, they're the ones who are going to succeed in the long term. Now, there is a ton that we could get into around just this concept itself, right? Notice, don't just notify. Because it's important that we do notify, that we tell people what we're doing, right? If we don't tell people what we're doing, then there's no way for them to know, and it's our own fault that they don't know, right? Because if you just never tell anybody, nobody knows. But it's important that we notice the person and not just notify them about what's going on. And there are a number of different ways that we could do this. I think the most impactful way is through community building activities, or a community building mindset, right? So treating your newsletter not just like it's a thing you do, you throw out there to make sure everybody knows what's going on. Instead, treating it as if it is a direct link between you and another person, another human being, right? Who has been kind enough to give you their email address, to give you direct access to them. And that's a tremendously important thing, especially in this day and age. And so treating it with the respect it deserves and giving people the energy and the time that is appropriate is going to tremendously impact your ability to market, your ability to engage with them. Now, I do want to caution here because, it's possible that you could approach this with the wrong motivation, that you could approach this with the motivation of, well, I just want to sell a lot of books, and so I'm going to pretend to engage with somebody, but really I don't actually care about them. I don't actually care, that they're a person. And that is absolutely the wrong mindset. And not only is it the wrong mindset, but people will know. People can sense when someone isn't being genuine. And when that happens, you make an enemy out of somebody who should be your friend. So this is a super important point to pay attention to as we're thinking about this simple marketing plan that we've set up. All right. The third thing that we're going to pay attention to here is the benefits of sharing other work. So if you remember, the simple marketing plan is post about yourself a couple of times a week, right? Tell people what it is you're doing, make sure that you're posting, but then make sure that you are sharing either every couple of days or every day, you are sharing other people's work, that you are finding people who are in similar places, right? who are writing similar things, who are in your genre, and that you are sharing their work to boost them. You'll notice that this point, right, sharing others' work, ties back into our first and second point. If you share other content from in your genre that you think is really good, you are doing a huge favor to everybody in your audience, because you are solving their problem, not just with your content, but with other people's content too. You are helping people, giving them something that they would have to expend a lot of energy to find for themselves. On top of that, you are specifically communicating that you recognize their need and you are interested in them as an individual and putting them first over, your ability to sell stuff. And so this is just a really practical way to implement those first two principles that we're paying attention to in our marketing. You're going to find that other authors start doing the same for you. As you start posting their content, they're going to be very happy about it, first of all. And second of all, they're going to be interested in doing the same for you. A lot of people have this sense when it comes to book marketing that we're playing a zero-sum game. If you're not familiar, a zero-sum game means that for every winner, everyone else is a loser. And so one person can win, one person gets to take home the prize, everybody else loses. And so it's just a fight, a mad scramble to be the person on the top of the pile at the end of the game. It's not zero-sum. That's not how this works. No single author can satisfy the appetite for fiction that exists. It's impossible. No single author, no matter how much they publish, and I publish a lot, can keep all of their readers satisfied all the time. Like, the idea that we have to hoard readers and not share them is ludicrous, right? Because first of all, they're other people. They belong to themselves. But second of all, like, somebody who reads my books is going to go and find other books to read. They're not going to only ever read my books. I can't publish fast enough for that to be the case. And even if I could publish fast enough for that to be the case, they probably wouldn't. They'd probably be interested in other things, see other cool ideas, because I can't have all the cool ideas. There are lots of other cool ideas out there. So this is not a zero-sum game. And so we should never be afraid of sharing other people's work. Now, I will admit that this is difficult. It is genuinely difficult. So to give you an example from my own life, this is one thing that I need to do more of that I don't do as much of. And the reason is simply because I don't have time. It takes time to read books. It takes time to figure out whether they are worth recommending. It takes time to put all of those recommendations together, and it takes time to, disseminate them. However, this is so vitally important that I am literally in the process of rebuilding all of my social media and my website and retooling my entire online strategy to focus around these concepts in the year 2025 and then in 2026. And it's a long process, and it's taking me time to get there. You can actually see the beginnings of it if you go to my website, sethring.com. You can see some of what we're starting to build, and it's cool. It is really, really cool. I cannot be happier with it. So anyway, to get back on topic, share other people's work. Okay, now, the fourth thing we're going to do is we are going to post more. I know. This is one of those that just grates on everybody. And I'm no different. It grates on me too, but it's very important. And it's important because of how social media channels work. Social media channels do not show all of your content to all of your followers. They don't. Because they realized really early on that if they did that, they would completely drown out any small account. If you have 5 big accounts and you're showing 5 pieces of content to all of their followers all of the time, and some of those overlap, then smaller accounts are not going to be able to show up in there. And so instead, what a social media platform will do is it will take a subset of your followers and it will show content to them. And if they react really well, it'll show it to a slightly larger group. And if they react really well, it'll show it to a slightly larger group, right? The problem is that this means that there are people who are following you who never hear from you. Never, 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 right? We think to ourselves, man, you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to spam people. I don't want to like just completely spam them. But the bigger your audience is, the more frequently you have to post. Now, if you're starting off with a small audience, that's fine. Post once a day, right? As your audience gets bigger, you're going to want to post more. Now, if you can't post once a day, and you really should be just trying to post once a day pretty much everywhere, instead what you want to do is you want to focus on what you would consider high value posts, right? Something that has some meat to it or some impact that takes more than 2 seconds to write. However, regardless of what you're doing, you just need to post more. That's the reality of it, right? Until you own the channel. So a channel you own would be like an email list or something like that. And once you own the channel, great. Then you want to slow it down. Then you want to post maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. You're looking to decrease the frequency at that point. But while you're on somebody else's platform, you need to increase the frequency that you post. All right. And then last, but certainly not least, point number 5, make it easy. This is one that I say and kind of then have to scratch my head and I'm like, why do I even have to say this? But the unfortunate reality is that I do. It needs to be easy to find your books. It needs to be easy to contact you. It needs to be easy to get on your email list. It needs to be easy to do anything that you want a customer to do. If you want a customer to take an action, it has to be as simple as humanly possible. This is one of the reasons that Amazon has done so well. Their rapid checkout process is like an unbelievable advantage. I don't know if you've ever tried to buy something on another site and you have like 3 to 4 clicks to roll through. We don't think about it as much. We're like, oh, it's simple, right? I go in and I put in my information and I put in my my credit card and I buy the thing, and I answer the questions and I click the button and then it goes to the next screen and I put in my shipping address or whatever and then I click the button and every single point along there is a friction point where somebody could just drop off. And so Amazon is great for this. Whether it's KU with the ability to download a book directly or, the one-click buy on Amazon, definitely friendly. Now, getting somebody there needs to be just as quick, right? Don't send them to your website where there's a pop-up form and questions for them and then have them hunt through the list of books to find the link to go to Amazon. Just send them to Amazon. If you're not selling on Amazon, if you're selling somewhere else, send them there, right? If you're selling on your website, great. Make it as simple as possible. The less barriers there are, the more likely somebody is to take an action. And that's ultimately what we need to do with our marketing, right? Is to get them to take an action. And so what I want you to do is I want you to look at your entire process and I want you to examine it with a microscope to identify any points of friction along the way, anywhere where somebody might be like, oh, that's kind of annoying, right? When I come to the website within 3 seconds, I'm trying to look at something and a screen pops up. Do you want to join my email list? No. Nope. I wanted to read the thing that you are now blocking. I don't want to join your email list. I want to read the thing. But you're not letting me read the thing. And that makes me annoyed. Not that I have any sort of unresolved trauma around that or anything like that. But in fact, I have to commend an author I know. I'm not going to mention his name, but he built a website and he was testing his process. And so what did he do? He sent me an email. He asked me to sign up for his list and walk through the process so he could sort of troubleshoot it. This is actually a fantastic idea. Get your friends and family to do this, right? It costs nothing to be like, hey, could you just spend 2 minutes, go to my website, tell me what your first impression is, tell me how easy it is to sign up for the email list, tell me what you think about the first email you get. And in fact, here, I'll tell you what. If you go to my website, sethring.com, try to sign up for my email list, see how quick it is. And then do me a favor. Send me a message through my contact form, giving me your honest opinion about the website, giving me your opinion about the first email that you get from me. Tell me one thing you think that I could do better, that could be improved in that email, what you would like to know that's not being answered, maybe a question that you have, or a piece of information you'd like to know that I'm not providing. Give me a piece of feedback. And then include in that message your URL for your website. And I'll do the same. I'll go through the process and I'll give you some feedback on it. All right? And then, to just take it a step further, drop your website in the comments, and other people who are commenting can do the same as well, right? We can all provide some feedback for each other. Because getting this process right and making it easy is so incredibly important. All right. So I've given you a task to do. But before you go, I do want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me for this video. And, all of these things that we've talked about, whether it's marketing or the feedback loop or, longevity or a writing habit, all of these things are incredibly important, and you can spend a lifetime studying them and learning about them. Hopefully these videos have given you some practical tips that you can start implementing immediately. Just remember, we're going to get there. This isn't a short-term thing. This is not some sort of, quick magic process that is going to be done in a week or two. No, this is long-term, right? We're trying to be authors, and not just be authors, but be authors for a very long time.